Welcome to the Danish Pavilion Possible Greenland, which is outlining some of the future possibilities for Greenland as a new building nation.
It's a collaboration project between Greenlandish and Danish architect companies that has taken some of the big challenges that are facing Greenland and turned them into new possibilities.
So let's go in and check it out.
Yeah.
So this is the Greenland home, and it's to signal that a home is a necessity in Greenland. You need to create a little oasis of homeliness in the midst of a big and violent nature. And so therefore we built a home as a symbolism for the necessity of building homes when you're an architect. Architecture is about building homes.
At the same time, it tells the story of present Greenland by actually have real pictures from a young man's life here, from his birth, education as a helicopter pilot, to meeting his wife and getting a child. And it's infused by really important pictures from present Greenlandic history.
So from the home you can use the main door and get out into the Greenland nature and see what Greenland is really about by just walking out the door. So here we are in a cold room where you can feel how the contrast between indoors and outdoors would be in Greenland. And we have some screens on the walls where you can see the very forceful nature of Greenland. You can see the melting and collapse of ice on the one screen, and on the other screen you can see the modern Greenland. You can see that the people of Greenland are no longer just living, traditional indigenous lives, but are actually part of a modern world.
This room is quite cold and it smells of fish actually. We have an installation here of dried fish, cod fish, which is the way they do it, and we have a facade here of a prototypical Greenlandic house. And that also to put emphasis between the different scales of the built environment and the big nature.
So this is a room that is trying to give you an impression of what Greenland is without going into very much textual detail. It's not a didactic room, but it should give you a feeling for what Greenland is and where Greenland is. So it tells you about the size of Greenland, tells you about the resources. And we also actually have a piece of Greenland here, which is lying right here. It's a rock that is iron formation. So it's symbolizing the mineral resources that are going to be exploited in Greenland in the coming years, but at the same time it's also telling that Greenland holds a story about our world formed, how the evolution of Earth and life and everything else. Greenland has a history that is almost 4 billion years old, so Greenland remembers 1/3 of all time that existed in the universe.
We have different mappings here telling about the density in Greenland, which is not very big. I mean, different settlements in Greenland. Only 56,000 people are living in Greenland on a very huge area, and we compare it here to Italy and Denmark. The red lines in the illustration are showcasing the municipalities and regions here. Greenland only have 4 big municipalities and 1 big national park. Now we entered the biggest room in the exhibition, where the contributing teams are exhibiting. There's a team working with how to cultivate the resources of Greenland. Another team is working with how you can exploit the migration in Greenland in order to develop the cities in a sustainable way. We have a team working with how to connect Greenland better to the world and within itself, and a team working with a new Arctic building practice. So that's basically the team's contribution in this room.
And centrally located in the room we think ourselves a magnificent structure. It is a table that is built in such a way that it illustrates the size of Greenland. It outlines the coastline of Greenland, and you can see that it's a curved table, and that is because the curvature is actually to scale with the curvature of Earth. So it shows you that Greenland is actually an enormous chunk of the planet, and Greenland is a significant part of the Earth. But also the table is to symbolize that the future of Greenland cannot be decided by people like us coming with solutions. The future of Greenland has to be formed through discussion amongst people who sit around the table. So the table is symbolizing everything good. It's a dining table, meeting table, discussion table, welcome table, all these wonderful things is what we have here.
The table is a 1 to 300,000 scale model of Greenland, and it's also made to tour around Greenland in order to cater a good discussion there about this project.
We have all this information about Greenland is spread on the table, so those who seek more information, the idea is that people will get a feeling for Greenland while walking through the exhibition, and if they want to know something about it, they can read it on the iPads or the documentation we have on the table.